Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back with another video, and this is the OnePlus 3T. So like I mentioned in my unboxing video, I'm making a video dedicated to using this phone for a week and seeing how it performed and giving my initial thoughts on how it worked for me. As I've used this phone, there's a lot of things that I've noticed about it, but let's start with the exterior. The build quality is great. It's an aluminum unibody form, and it takes after the OnePlus 3, except in different colors. So the OnePlus 3T has soft gold and gunmetal, whereas the OnePlus 3 has gold and graphite. I mean, different colors, but they're basically gold and gray. So while this build is great, it's not actually waterproof, which I know for some people it may or may not be a deal breaker, but for me it doesn't really matter. I'm not near water too often, and little light spills will be fine. The speaker, despite sounding great, is at the bottom of the phone. So if you're watching a video, your hand might accidentally block the speaker grill, and it might cause the noise of the video to be muffled, or the music, or whatever you're listening to. I'd honestly prefer if it had front-facing speakers, but I guess this downward-facing speaker is better than a backwards-facing speaker. Now, moving on to the cameras. Both of the cameras on this, the front-facing and the rear-facing cameras, are 16-megapixel shooters, and they function great. Which makes me wonder why more companies don't have the same sensor or the same megapixel sensor on the front and the back. Selfies are just as important too. I'd say that one of the only issues with the camera is that there's an actual physical camera hump, but if you're buying a case from OnePlus 3 anyway, or most people use cases, it doesn't really matter because it's just gonna sit flush against the phone and it's not even gonna look like you have camera hump. However, for the cameras, I just haven't had the chance to actually shoot video with it yet, but from what I noticed from the photos were great. Except that I felt that some of the highlights were actually blown out just a little bit. This is what video on the OnePlus 3T looks like from the front-facing selfie camera. 16 megapixel shooter. I haven't really had the chance to test it out, but this is what it looks like. You guys can judge for yourself. This way is the 16 megapixel rear-facing shooter. Look at my glorious set right now. My assistant right over there. Yeah, I can't really judge, but I'll let you guys be the judge. This is unedited, raw footage. The fingerprint sensor is fast, like blindingly fast. Anytime I have to go to unlock my phone, I never really have to think about it. It just unlocks. I never have to go and input my password, input my swipes, whatever. It just unlocks. Like that. That's it. The screen has a 1080p resolution, so my feelings are kind of mixed. On one hand, it perfectly suits the needs of most people. It'll be hard to tell the difference between a 2560 by 1440 resolution versus 1920 by 1080 on a 5.5-inch screen. But on the other hand, many 5.5-inch phones nowadays have a 2K resolution, such as the Pixel XL, the Galaxy S7 Edge, and even my 2-year-old Galaxy Note 4. They all have 2K resolutions. So moving on to the interior components, the phone lacks an expandable storage, but the base model is 64 gigabytes, and if you want to double that, it's only $50 more to 128 gigabytes. The phone is fast. With 6 gigs of RAM, I didn't even ever feel it stutter, especially with a bunch of apps open at once. OnePlus's Oxygen OS is running a modified version of Android Marshmallow, which allows for a lot of really great shortcuts and a better user experience overall. There's almost no bloatware, except for a few modified versions of apps, such as Calculator, Clock, and Messenger. Oxygen OS is really great for what it is, but if you're an Android purist and you only want stock, pure Android, then this phone may not necessarily be for you. Now comes my favorite part, the battery. This thing has a 3400 milliamp hour battery, and for my usage, I rarely ever had to actually pay attention to the battery. I just let it do its thing throughout the day. It's basically lasted me a day and a half before it really needed a charge. Even when this phone did need a charge, dash charging filled this phone up quick. OnePlus claimed 60% in 30 minutes, and after using it, those claims are completely true. It's so nice to be able to just plug it in for 30 minutes and then you're almost full again. But my only real concern is the dash charging. I'm curious to see how it'll affect the longevity of the battery since you're constantly putting it through heavy cycles of using the dash charging and forcing it to charge so quickly. In conclusion, this is an absolutely great phone, especially for the price. Of course, there are a few things here and there that I wish that they could have improved upon, such as the 1080p screen, the speaker being at the bottom of the phone, and the waterproofing. But it's made up with the dash charging, 6 gigs of RAM, fast fingerprint sensor, really good cameras, and more. Like I said, for the price you're paying, this phone is an absolute must. This one, in fact, is actually going to be going to my girlfriend, and it's not for me. So, here you go. She's behind the camera right now. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to drop a like for this video and be sure to turn on notifications to let you know when the newest video comes out. It's down below right next to the subscribe button, the little bell. Click that and then, hey, tell me all about these notifications or whatever thing comes up whenever I post a new video. And I'll catch you guys all in the next video.